How's everyone? Doing good? Did you have a nice week? Did you get out and play? Yeah. This month is flying by, isn't it? Yeah. Wow. It won't be long and summer will be over. And it'll be time for fall. Wow. Yeah. So you make sure you get lots of chances to go out and play while it's still nice and warm. Yeah. Enjoy this nice weather, huh? Yeah. Make sure you listen to your parents. Being obedient, following directions, and doing what you're told is really important. Let's read about that in our story this week. Let's see. Here's my bookmark. Let's see if my bookmark leads me to my page. Yes, it does. Our story this week is about two people named Abraham and Sarah. Actually, there's a third person. They're a little baby boy, Isaac. Let's find out. God had given Abraham and Sarah a little baby boy. They loved little Isaac. Each day he grew bigger and stronger. And one day God gave Abraham a test. And the test would show whom Abraham loved more, God or Isaac. God said, Abraham, take your son Isaac, whom you love, with you, and go to the land of Moriah. There, on one of the mountains, I want you to offer him as an offering. What a hard test for Abraham. He loved Isaac dearly. It would be hard to do what God asked, but Abraham knew it was more important to obey God than to save his son. Early the next morning, Abraham got ready to go. He saddled his donkey and he cut wood for the offering. He asked two of his servants to go along with him and Isaac. Now they were all ready to go. Tramp, tramp, tramp went the men's feet. Clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop went the donkey's feet. For 3 days they walked on and on and on. And on the third day Abraham saw the mountain far away. Shade your eyes with your hand. Can you shade your hand as if you're looking far away? Can you do that? He's looking far away. Can you do that? So the mountain was way far off. Abraham said to his servants, stay here with the donkey. Isaac and I will go to that mountain. And he point later, that mountain, way over there. Way over there. We'll worship, and then we'll come back to you. Abraham carried the knife and the fire, and Isaac carried the wood. Closer and closer they came to the mountain. Father, said Isaac, we have the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for us to offer? My son, replied Abraham, God will provide a lamb. Finally they came to the place where God had told Abraham to go, and Abraham built an altar. He laid the wood on top of it. Next he laid Isaac on top of the altar. One more thing to do, the hardest thing of all. Abraham would have to kill his dear son. Abraham, Abraham, called an angel from heaven. Here I am, Abraham answered. Don't hurt the boy. Do not do anything to him. Now I know you truly love God because you are willing to offer your only son for God. Abraham looked up and he saw something in the bushes. It was a ram, and it was caught by its horn, so it couldn't get away. A ram is a daddy sheep. Bah, bah. Abraham took Isaac off the altar, and Abraham caught the ram. He offered it on the altar instead of his son. Abraham passed the test, and he showed that he loved God more than he loved anything or anyone. God was pleased with Abraham. So why did God give Abraham a test? Do you remember? He wanted to see whom he loved more, God or Isaac. And what did Abraham and Isaac take along on their trip? They took a knife and wood and fire and some servants and a donkey. But the servants and the donkey didn't go the whole way. They went most of the way, but not the whole way. And who told Abraham, don't hurt Isaac? Remember? An angel. Yeah, an angel said, don't hurt Isaac. What did Abraham see caught right in the bushes? A ram, a daddy sheep. Yeah. And whom did Abraham love more? God or Isaac? Do you remember? He loved God more. You're right. Very good. Our memory verse this week is Abraham believed God, and he was called friend of God. James 2:23. And let me find my page for you. Getting there. I thought I had this marked, but I have a bit of difficulty finding my page. Let's see. That's not it. That's not it. Oh, there we go. I guess I didn't mark this page. So this is if you have the book, this is the page. Okay. And this is the picture for you to color. Okay. And then this week you would do this maze. Okay. This maze. Let's see. We would start at this tent and we would wind our way down. And can we go this way? No. And can we go this way? No. Can we go this way? Yes, we can go down and down and we can go that way. Down and down, around here, and up, around. Okay, go that way. Around, and up, over. Oh, okay, go that way. Let's go here. These little curves and down and up. Oh, I ran into it. Let's go around this curve all the way down. Can I go either this direction or this direction? Nope, I can't leave the path. Just stay on this. No, I can't go those directions. Let's go down, and right there is the end. See that? We had to follow the direction of the path from the tent. Abraham left his home and traveled to the place where God told him to go. You drew the lines for the maze from Abraham's tent to the altar he built. You followed his path. Now, if you have the book, then you will have this picture to color. Alright? And you will have this paper to do. Let's see. I'm looking for this one. Abraham believed God and he was called friend of God. That's our verse. Abraham believed God and he was called friend of God. And that's James 2:23. Now, you take a big piece of paper and you fold it down, and then you cut off one of those strips of paper. You get this. Now fold this in half, and then in half, and then in half. So you have this little teeny tiny piece of paper. Now open up all your halves, follow instructions, okay? And then you're going to fold it forward and backward, right on the lines that you made when you folded. Forward, backward, forward, and backward, and forward, okay? Then you can do it, or you have a grown-up do it. You're going to draw a heart shape. I will show you in a second here. So you are going to, actually it's a heart shape here. Just can't see it very well because my pen isn't working. And I don't have a marker. Of course I don't have a marker. But I drew a heart shape, okay? So you're going to draw half of a heart. Then you're going to cut your heart. But you're not going to cut the part that goes around. So cut this straight part, okay? Cut the straight part. And stop. And then you're going to cut the top part. So that you have a heart, okay? So that you cut this part and you stopped. Then you went over here and you cut this little curved part and you stopped. And when you opened it up, you have all these parts all joined together. When you follow instructions, this is what you get. We are connected to each other through Jesus. And the more time you spend with God and Jesus, the more connected you are to Him. Pretty cool. So if you follow instructions and don't cut that little part off, you will end up with a whole string of parts. And this will remind us that Abraham obeyed God and was called friend of God. Okay? Hopefully I have enough time to finish this real quickly. How about a little quiz? Who had faith that God would send a flood, even though it seemed weird? Noah. Whose parents had faith that God would protect their baby when they put him into a river? You know? His name was Moses. What happened at Jericho because the Israelites had faith and obeyed God? The walls fell down. Who had faith that God would help him and his little army of 300 men? A man named Gideon. Who had faith when he was thrown into a den of lions? Daniel. And who had faith when they were put into a furnace of fire? There was 3 men. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Who had faith in God even though men threw stones at him because he believed in God? Do you remember that one? We read that story together. A man named Stephen. Who had faith in God even in prison? Remember, an angel opened the door so he could escape. Remember? Peter. They all had faith, they all believed, and they all trusted God, and they obeyed Him. Yes. Here's a really quick story, as long as my phone doesn't die. Kenton gobbled his cereal and slurped up the last drops of milk in his bowl. He stuffed the last bits of toast into his mouth and leaned back a little bit in his chair. Kenton, Mommy teased, where is the fire? You're wolfing down your food. Kenton grinned back at her, but didn't answer. He knew what his mommy thought about talking with his mouth full. He was eager to finish breakfast, for he had his morning planned. Last night, Daddy had finished building a play area for Kenton and his sister, a sandbox, with a playhouse built on poles above the sand. Kenton especially liked the sandbox. He loved to make roads and towns in the sand, and another great thing was that if you climbed the ladder to the playhouse, you could go down a slide. No wonder Kenton was in a hurry to get outside to play. Mommy got up from the table and put the milk back into the fridge. Kenton, she said, would you please clear the table for me? Then I'll have some vacuuming for you to do in the downstairs rooms. Kenton's face fell. I was hoping I could play in the sandbox, he said. Oh, honey, we have a lot of work to do before our company comes tonight for the weekend, Mommy said. She looked at his disappointed face. I'll tell you what. Would you like to go outside and play for 15 minutes? Then we'll do our work, and when we're done with that, then you should have some time left to play this afternoon. How does that sound? Will you come right away when I call you? Kenton nodded eagerly. He raced outside and got his bulldozer, made many roads. Kenton was outside playing, and 15 minutes went by, and his mommy called him, and he came in just like he was supposed to. And he got all his chores done. He picked up the trash, he gathered the laundry, he vacuumed, did everything his mommy wanted him to do. And she scooped him up and hugged him and said, I'm proud of you. You obeyed me. You did a great job. And that's important. God scoops us up and hugs us and says, good job. We need to obey God and read our Bible and go to church and do what he wants us to do and love one another, huh? Remember, our memory verse this week is Abraham obeyed God and he was called friend of God. Okay? So be obedient. Remember, it's very important. And you have a great week. Bye-bye.